Spirit wants us to be happy, and it wants us to grow in a certain way, in our own way, but in a way that is guided by Spirit, which is us. We are Spirit. All together, we are Spirit. And I manifested that everybody who watches this, everybody who needs this, will come and be attracted to this video. So if you're here for a reason. But I got an interesting message. We have 3 cards from the alchemy deck. We have Ash. We have Contra Naturam, which is against nature. And we have Pneuma, breath. And I did take some notes for this because it was a little bit of a strong message today. Ash is about things that can no longer be. Once something is turned to ash, that form that it had before can never be put back together. It is, it's like Humpty Dumpty. Once he takes his big fall, you can't put him back together. And I don't think this is about you or your body or anything. It could be about an ancestor, a loved one that was passed recently. This is not a prediction. This would be something that has happened in your past, if it is a loss like that. But I do think that this is a season of even grieving things that have long been lost, because it's like we're trying, maybe subconsciously, to wisdom and light, just like my comment. Sorry, we're trying subconsciously to bring something back that cannot be. It's like, and we're still in shock a little bit, because the reality that is right now is so indistinguishable from the past reality that we grew accustomed to. And the breath card here, I just think it means we need to make space for this. We need to make space for understanding what has been lost and what has replaced it. And if it is a person, of course, we can't replace it. But I think this is more than just a person or just a situation, just a relationship. This is an entire reality that you constructed for yourself. And little by little, it burned away, and you might have kind of ignored it. Maybe not. Maybe you were super, super aware of it, because, with the breath card, that is very much awareness. And it is, and also the breath card is a bridge, which is interesting because it's underneath and between these 2 cards. It's a bridge between 2 things. It's a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, the 3D and the 5D. And so we have ash in the 3D and against nature in the 5D. So it's like we're trying to use, and again, it could be subconscious, we're trying to use magic or manifestation to bring back a reality that just cannot be. But I'm hearing right now, Spirit is saying that's okay. Like, it's okay. That reality is supposed to be gone. And again, if I don't want to say that a person is supposed to be gone, but the reality that maybe we even constructed around a person, or definitely around a situation, is finished. And so now we have to make space, and we have to grow a little bit more awareness and turn to our breath, probably, because every breath is different. Every single breath is different. Oh, interesting. So after the inhale is done, it will never be like that again. After that exhale is done, it will never be like that again. So, and you know what, Alunia, I'm getting this. Alunia did mention that in this season, this sort of thing would come about, but especially in for people who were not really awake in any way. But still, those themes will be around. Let me see if there's anything else that I wrote here. Trying to force an outcome, yeah, okay. People do what they do. Yeah. So if somebody has done something which has set something ablaze and now it's done, the fire is over, and now you're just looking at it and like, what the fuck just happened? Um, then it's time to release our grip, because we're kind of like this, and it's causing probably literal tension in our body, and at least tension in our mind. Um, and if somebody wanted to take away the form of something that it was before, then they had to do that for some reason, even if they were in the wrong. There was some reason for them and for you. Ultimately, there was their lesson there, especially because we have these cards and we have this on video, and it came out today. There is a lesson here for you, and it first and foremost is to being present. And if somebody, what, this might be for someone else. I should have mentioned that before. This might be for someone else who's experienced a loss, and if it is, then it is saying that there is a necessity to be present with that person right now. And I'm hearing it's because not just for the moral and empathetic like implications, but also because we have something to learn from that. um Grieving a past once the present becomes yeah, I always said that. Breath, something that is consistent. Yeah. So grounding is super important right now. And God, I have been constantly having to do that, constantly. Like, I cannot stay grounded right now. um and I'm a Capricorn, and I have so much earth in my chart, so I kind of like, I'm always sort of grounded, but like I'm kind of stuck in between, um, grounding and not. So I get in this like kind of in between place, and probably a lot of you do too. So kind of getting all the way grounded and only allowing, our energy to rise in a way that's controlled and intentional. We want to stay on the ground unless it's intentional. Like right now, I'm intentionally rising my vibration so I can intentionally tap into the collective energy, right? So make it intentional when you are getting ungrounded in a way. That's not the word I want, but I can't think of another way to say that. But yes, make it intentional. Also, what's the difference between an observation and a control? We have to make that distinction, because we do live in a dual, a reality of duality. Reality of duality. I love that. And so, while duality is an illusion, we have to understand that it is something that we have to work with while we're here, right? So this duality of observation and control, because they are a duality. If you're putting too much control in something, you're not paying enough attention to it, and vice versa. We can work with an in-between space, or we can completely surrender, or we can completely try to hold on to something and just, and by doing that, we're using all of our energy. We're not able to observe. So where is it right now that you are just completely surrendering and observing, which is fine, but to an extent, um, maybe there is like, there's always going to be a little bit of a need for some kind of control, whether that just be the control of your awareness, and not allowing your awareness to go everywhere, every which way, and becoming ungrounded. And also, where is it that you're holding on so tightly that you can't, you're not allowing yourself to be aware of the reality of the situation, right? And I think that control aspect is really what's working on us here. So while I was um, thinking about these cards and meditating on them, um, I love my Italian music, and let me, oop, I can't play that or I won't be able to get monetized ever. So it's called Dimmi che no è un addio, which means tell me it's not goodbye. And it's by Holden, Holden. Um, ooh, wow. Okay, so yes, it means tell me it's not goodbye. I won't ignore fate. And this is so weird. I mean, I got such deep chills. I knew what the title was called, but I never looked at these lyrics. But I knew when it came on, like, oh, I was supposed, because I wasn't even going to turn on my music, and then I was like, okay, I just need to listen to my music. So I did, and of course, this song came on while I was. I mean, it's just it's just such a synchronicity. So the verse says, I won't ignore fate as if it were advice, if in the darkness that swallows us, we don't seem to be here. Presence, we don't seem to be here. And I hope it won't change me, keeping control. That air, that the air when that the air will then touch me, that it will take some of my troubles away. Air, breath. I hope you'll understand. So I honestly do feel like some of you are the ones who are who are um, igniting this situation. Some of you are the ones who have been the catalyst to the to putting or to bringing to bringing an end to this situation, right? And even though you were, and there's that observation and control. It's like I can't decide. I can't really tell if it was completely intentional or if it was just kind of something that you did because you were just not really paying attention. It was in that space, but it wasn't. I don't know if it was from a completely grounded space. I feel like some of you might have acted on impulse, not everybody, but from this, I do feel like some of you did act on impulse, but you did it out of a deep knowing that that's what needed to happen. So I'm not saying that you did this, or even I don't. So some of you did it, but you weren't aware of yourself doing it. But regardless, you did this from an intuitive understanding that it needed to happen. Or if you lost something and somebody else did this, I still feel like there was some part of you that needed this change. And I'm just gonna say that we're not talking about a past loved one because um, I just can't get into that, and that wouldn't be right. But otherwise, there was a situation that really did need to change, and I feel like we were holding on, but we were almost sabotaging it. That's what it was. We're holding on so tight, and we were not gonna take our attention away from it. So we were kind of in both realities there. And at the same time, we were doing things to sabotage it because we knew that this could not continue, or somebody else was doing this, and now they're facing kind of the fallback. That's not right. Whatever, they're facing the consequences in a way, not like that, but you know what I mean. They're facing the the, the cause and effect of this, and you are asked again to be present with them, because this song is very cariño. It's very um like loving, and it's written in a very very gentle way, like, like gentle for himself and gentle for the other person, like just out of complete gentleness he's writing this song. And that's what I love about it, because he is just being so, like, he's saying it like it is, but he's doing so in such a from a place of such pure empathy. And it just, and that's what you're called to do right now, whether it be for yourself or for others. You need compassion for yourself, whether this is a future situation that's coming up. And I do think everybody here is kind of knows, if this is a future situation, you kind of know what's coming. You Maybe you don't really want to admit it. Some of you, you're like, yes, I do want to admit it. I really want this to come, but I don't know how to let it go. And then others is like, I don't want this to end. I'm not going to let it end. And yet, think about it. What are you doing to sabotage it anyway? And I use the word sabotage, but that's not really what I want. But you know what I mean? It's like, what are you subconsciously doing to bring an end to something that you consciously are saying, oh no, I don't want this to end? So the chorus says, if in the darkness that exists, I was thinking of myself and I thought of you, tell me why. Tell me it's not goodbye. In the darkness that exists, I'm looking for your hand. If you have to say it, tell me softly. Tell me it's not goodbye. So tell me softly. So if you are planning on ending a relationship, if you are planning on ending something, do it softly. Do it gently. Do it quietly. Don't allow there to be a shockwave from this. And if there's something that's making you angry, maybe that's why there's the fire that's bringing the ash, right? If there's something that's making you angry, you take a step back, tap into that breath, tap into the 5D and the 3D ground, and connect to spirit at the same time, because that's where we're most powerful. And um, observe the things that are not right. Observe the things that are against your nature or against the nature of 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 our existence. Like, what is it that we're doing that we know is not sustainable anymore? What is it? Um, and look at it with gentleness. Understand why you're doing that. Don't blame yourself. Really, really don't blame yourself, please. Because this is the lesson. How can I let something end, be the catalyst to an end of something that I know is going to hurt? And how can I do that in a way that is compassionate to myself or to another or both or all? How can I do that in a compassionate way? And how can I say, look, like, um, I know that what I'm about to do or what I'm doing right now, I know what I'm letting go is going to hurt me. And I am going to allow myself to feel what I feel about it. And I'm going to treat myself like I would treat, a puppy. Like a puppy might, shit on you, but you're not going to be upset about it because the puppy doesn't know any better. And like, you have been doing a certain thing. I don't want to say living a certain way, because that sounds like everything you're doing is not aligned. That's not what I mean. But you've been doing something a certain way, living in a certain way, and now you have to find, what's the way I can forgive that? And what if I'm worth forgiving? What if? What if I am worth forgiving? I have such chills, and I'm trying not to cry. I swear I don't cry this much. I've cried on this camera so many times. But it's just like, maybe some of you have never even thought of that. And actually, I think people have said that to me, but I didn't really take it to heart. But it was a few weeks ago that I said, what if I'm allowed to be forgiven, excuse me? What if I am totally worthy of forgiving myself for, what I've done, what I feel like I've done? What if I can find the reason, and not as an excuse, but the human reason I was doing this? What in me was was um was scarred up? That's not the word I want to use. What in me was hurt, wounded? Thank you. What in me was wounded that made me want to do things like that? See it from that perspective. See it from the perspective of, you know, this being was hurting, and it was doing its best to try to neutralize that in a way. And that's what anybody would do in this situation. That's what any one of us would do if we were in this situation. And so, what if I'm worthy of forgiving? What if the other person is worthy of forgiving? You are. I'm hearing that very strong. You are. Now that I'm alone in an apartment, you drink a cocktail in a pub in the center. With time, every moment will fade. I didn't read these lyrics before I started. I mean, I read the first few lines. With time, every moment will fade. Tell me you're not afraid now. You don't want to wake up alone in your bed, me lying on the parquet in the dark pesto. I don't know what that means. Tell me it's not goodbye. If in the darkness that exists, I was thinking of myself and I was thinking of you, duality, like, here we go. You were thinking of, you weren't just being selfish. You weren't. You feel like you were. You're like, I was doing something, maybe it's not for everybody, but a lot of you feel like you were being selfish in a deeply. You kind of have this deep wound here of feeling selfish for something. What if that isn't the case? What if there's another deeper reason? Maybe you were trying to please someone. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that's aligned, is what I mean to say. But what if you were doing it for a selfless reason in the end? Like, in the end, that's probably what it was. You were probably trying to do something for another person. And if it was for yourself, if it really truly was for yourself, so what if you're worthy of forgiving that? Okay? So if in the darkness that exists, I was thinking of myself and I was thinking of you, tell me why. But tell me it's not goodbye. So it's like that holding on against nature, holding on. And so he's kind of begging softly, like, tell me it's not goodbye, please. You know? If you have to say it, tell me slowly. So don't feel the need to make this a tower moment. If you don't know the tarot, the tower is a sudden ending, a sudden destruction. The foundation, crumbles, and how the tower falls. Um, it's it's a sudden event. It doesn't have to be a super. Well, we don't have to go into that, but in this case, I feel like 222 on the timer. Um, in this case, we're looking at a tower and we're trying to allow it to be a controlled demolition. And this might be a different story for someone, but a controlled demolition rather than just, you know, um, being just in full observer mode or full unconscious mode and just allowing the tower to do what it do and then fall and surprise us. Don't allow it to surprise you. I'm kidding. Don't allow this to surprise you. Look, start with your breath. I don't know why exactly, but start with your breath. Make space for it. Make space for it. And again, and I say this a lot because I'm telling you, this is this will change a lot of people's lives if you take a breathing and make sure that you do it correctly, but it will make space in your body. And I can tell you from experience that I did it incorrectly for a little bit, and it was not having the effect it was going to. So I put it on my community tab. Go on there and just listen to a little bit, and do some of the practice with the lady. She's a Russian lady, and it's in English though. Tell me this isn't goodbye. This feels like a real goodbye. So in the end, he accepts it. He says, "Okay, you told me slowly. You did it gently." And he's could be talking to himself or somebody else, probably both. I feel like he's talking to both, but he's like, okay, this is goodbye. This is the end. The reality that I knew is no longer, and that is okay. That is okay. In fact, it makes so much room. You expand it. He's expanded, and he's made room for something so much, I don't want to say more beautiful, so much different. It's a different energy. It's like, I said this before, and um, this is just something I intuited, I guess. But if you've been in love once with one person and been in love another time with another person, the feeling is uh, they're both very euphoric, but the quality is completely different. It's always completely different. You can never have the same love again. Never. And it's almost like a good thing. Like while you're grieving the loss of a relationship, it feels like you'll never love again, and it'll never be like that again, and it won't be, and you know that. But it's like what you don't see is that what what you will have in the future, what will come in the future, the same concept, the same like force of love, it will come back. It just won't be in the same shape or form. The foundation is the same, but the house will be different, right? So let's get some tarot real quick. Some final messages for this collective, please. And also something about don't force a round peg into a square hole. Although if the round peg is smaller than the square hole, then why not? But you know what I mean. Like, oh, that's interesting. And look at. I guess they all have something in the middle, but like they're all different shapes here: round, triangle, and square. And to be honest, you could fit all of those things into this square, but let's pretend that you couldn't. But I guess I don't know. There is a message there. It's like use what you have. Use what you have. Use the tools that you have, because sometimes even though they feel incompatible, they're not. So try it. Try the tools that you have. And it's not in a way to force the reality to be what you want it to be the same as it was before, because we know we can't do that. But it is because we can adapt. And that's what we're being asked to do: adapt. Start with the breath, start with the present, start with love, start with your heart space. And if there is, something that if your heart is needing to allow something to enter it and it feels like the wrong shape, okay, well, take a chance and, be the observer. Don't put too much control in it. Be aware. And if it doesn't work, if you allow something in your heart and you're like, oh, that's not feeling right, then immediately, like, okay, let's take a step back from this. So this there is a lesson from this. I think that's the lesson, is like at the beginning of the situation, you had a heart feeling, you had a heart understanding that this was never going to work, but you weren't connected there. There was a lack of connection. Maybe there was, and maybe you knew it, and maybe you just kept doing it because it felt so good for you. But I think for other people, it was just like there was just lack of connection. But now you have that connection. Now you have the tools, and you understand how to make that connection. And so, you will be able to be a little bit more careful with your heart, careful with your being, and you're going to do it softly and gently. And if it doesn't work out, what if you are forgivable for that? And what if it makes total sense? Because you're a being who needs love from yourself and from the outside world. We all need love. We all do. And I'm not just talking about romantic love, but we all do have that desire. And so, what if it's okay? What if we don't have to be so hard on ourselves about it? And oh wow, am I talking to myself too? I was going to use those other cards, but now they're not calling to me. So, any final messages, please? Ten of Cups. I have chills again. I have chills. Ten of Cups is about happiness. It's about, being in a loving relationship, a loving family unit. But it doesn't even have to be. It could be just all. I often get this for just when I'm feeling like, I'm in a good mood. Like I'm in a really good mood. This is what comes out the day before, and I'm like, or yeah right, and it always happens. So, but I do feel like this is a bigger picture here. So if you're watching this, you are destined for an incredible amount of happiness. Incredible. For honestly, a lot of you are about to meet your soulmate. I just heard that very loudly, very clearly. If that's even, I feel like even if you're not looking for that, that's what's coming. Um, yep, with the Two of Wands, geez, okay, definitely, definitely. There is somebody who's going to have, and don't take this the wrong way, please, but who's going to have the, God, I don't know how you could take this the right way, just the right shape peg for for your heart. You know what I mean. Oh my gosh, but you are free to make fun of me for that because that is so funny. um this person might be in a form of a messenger. I'm almost getting like some of you are meeting the mailman or the mailwoman. Um but also maybe it's somebody you're meeting online on a dating app. Yeah, some of you are encouraged to go on a dating app. Some of you, this is a friend. Some of you, this is a job. But in whatever it is like y'all's fire is so compatible, and they're gonna bring such a youthful energy to you, and it's gonna be it's gonna make you think about the world in a completely different way. You're really gonna have a childlike sort of perspective. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video on your social media. Comment down below and tell me how it resonates, please. And if you are ready for this change, um, say ready in the comments or leave an emoji. Um, and let's get one more card. If you stayed, like, subscribe. Did I say that? Yes, I did. On the bottom was the Ace of Pentacles, I think. I feel like that's the moon. So I'm just gonna say, allow for the unknown. There's something coming that you don't know about that is going to it's gonna bring back that loving feeling in a different way again. That childlike wonder for how you view the world, and please allow for the unknown. Allow for a little bit of fear. You know, it's not that we're trying to be living in fear, but allow for something to be a little bit scary and just walk into it and see how it does, because the risk is worth taking. I don't know who I'm channeling right now, but I recognize this voice. The Hierophant. Okay, so for some of you, this person is a teacher, but also, oh my God, this is somebody you're getting married to. For some of you, there could be a contract being signed. They've got the key. Okay, this is definitely a love reading for a lot of you, for most of you probably, but also it could be, you know, a lot of things. Take it as you interpret it, of course. um they're gonna hide their eyes. The one who hides their eyes is the one with the key. I want you to remember that. It's not going to make sense until it happens. And when it happens, come back, please. Tell me. Two of Cups. Yep. There's nothing I can say. It's repeating itself. So have a wonderful day. I love you. Thank you for listening. And I do appreciate it. Every single one of you. Have a good one.